Okay, so this is sort of part 2 of blackberry picking. Okay, but this is also just, you know, if you buy blackberries in the store or whatever, you can do this. I'm just going to show you making a really, really easy dessert. Now, I was out picking close to dark and after it's been raining, which you really shouldn't be doing, okay? So when you're doing that, you need to make sure you look back through your berries and look for, do you see, now I picked a couple of these on purpose to show you this is what will happen after it's been raining, okay? But ones that are really squishy soft, those are on the edge of molding. And if you notice that they look kind of foggy looking, as opposed to a nice bright berry, some of these are kind of foggy looking, then that's the beginnings of mold. So just kind of look back through before you use them. These are fresh. This is kind of a funny thing to say, but don't wash them if you can help it, unless you think you've been, you know, there's been spray on them or something, because what ends up happening is you get a really washed out blackberry flavor then. Okay, so I don't have measurements for this part because I just kind of do it by eye, but so you just take your blackberries. This is like a blackberry crumble. You can use this to make like a blackberry crisp, which would be, you know, adding oatmeal and things into it. And I've done that too, but you can also just make a blackberry pie, of course. And that way you would need a pie crust on the bottom. And normally we make our blackberry pie with no pie crust on the top. But this is going to be like a Dutch crumble top on this. And it's just the blackberries, and I put a little flour because you don't want them to be so juicy that they soak up all, you know, they don't soak up the juice. This flour will help. You could also use cornstarch, but it sometimes can be a little starchy if you get too much. And I just add in, you know, you're going to have tart berries in here no matter how careful you are about what you pick. So I put quite a bit of sugar because I like mine warm, and the warmer it is, the tarter it is. As it cools down, it's going to get sweeter. So I just sprinkle some around in there. All you're trying to do, just like when you're making an apple pie or anything else, is just get a good coating on your fruit. And maybe a little more than that when you have something this juicy, because apples are a drier fruit. So then I've got a buttered pan here. I'm just going to dump this in. Mix it around a little more because I've got a little bit of flour in the bottom. And then I'm going to just make a really simple crumble top. Okay, and here I've got a cup of flour. It's supposed to be 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar, but I'm spoiled and I like mine really caramely, so I put a little extra. And it's got a cube of butter cut up, and it's still cold, and just a little sprinkle of cinnamon. So you're going to take a pastry blender. You can use, if you don't have a pastry blender, you can use a fork. You can even use your hands. Some people use, you know, butter knives or different things, you know. You don't have to cut this up really, really fine. It's okay to have little chunks of brown sugar, little chunks of butter, because that'll make it really yummy and caramely and good in the oven. Sometimes when you're homesteading, you do not have a lot of time in the evening after all the chores and everything, so this is something quick if you want a nice, fruity, fresh dessert. Okay. So I'm just going to leave that like this. And you're just going to sprinkle this. Sometimes if I'm being really decadent, I'll make a double batch of this and put it on real thick. You just sprinkle this over your blackberries. You can use any fruit with this and it's really good. You can use this for Dutch apple pie, you can use it for peaches, lots of different things. So I'm just going to, now it doesn't cover as well as I like, but you know, you don't want to use all the butter. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in the oven at 400 degrees, and it's going to be in there probably, you know, just like 20 minutes. The blackberries, it's not really important for them to be super cooked down or anything. So all you're doing really is cooking the topping, and by then your blackberries will be ready. So probably about 20 minutes, and it's going to be nice and brown, and golden brown on the top. Take it out. You can serve it hot, warm, cold. It's just good. Okay, this is one used for blackberries.